Hi everybody, my name is Dee Burks and this is Retirement Rescue, where we talk about how to make money, save money, and create a great retirement. Well, one of the things that I've been talking with some of my friends about who are retired or thinking about retiring or about to retire here in a month is everything that's going on. It feels like the sky is falling. There's inflation. Prices are going up. The price of gas is ridiculous. There are just so many things. There are wars and rumors of wars and people, taking each other to court and ridiculousness. It's just like everything you hear is crashing in. So how do you keep your mind from constantly worrying? Worry is such a big deal. It creates a lot of anxiety. Actually, anxiety is worry and worry is anxiety. They are almost interchangeable. And that kind of worry can have really negative effects, not only on your emotional well-being, but on your physical well-being. It is a proven fact that you can literally make yourself sick from worrying. And if you have any kind of chronic illness, it makes it worse. So let's talk about a few things that you can do to free your mind from so much worry. Now, I believe one of the most important things is to acknowledge it. You worry because you're fearful about certain things. A great exercise in that case is to write down what you're worried about. Are you worried that prices are rising? Are you worried you're going to run out of money in retirement? Are you worried that your fixed income is going to shrink up as prices go up? Are you worried about your health? Are you worried about your living situation and housing for the future? What are you worried about? Write it down. There is something about writing those worries down that is like unloading them. It's like unloading the baggage. Those worries are still there. But once you write them down, you can create a plan to start dealing with that worry. Now, once you have things written down and you have a list of your biggest worries, look at that list. How many of those things can you actually do something about? If you're worried about inflation, there's not anything you can do about that. So it's really important to start reframing your mind. You can't do anything about inflation. So what can you do? You can prepare. You can start figuring out how to make your money go further. You can start figuring out how to maybe stock up on a few things that are rising quickly in price. You can create some strategies that will help you feel better. And it's also really important to note that when you are worried constantly about things you can't do anything about, that is completely unrealistic. Your worry isn't going to change things. Honestly, because you can't do anything about it, it's not your chicken. You just have to go on with your life. You have to figure out a way to move past it. It doesn't make that worry disappear. But when you're actively doing things to help yourself, it improves your mental state. It allows you to see some of those worries as unrealistic. Now, when you're worried and stressed, that is a great time to get out of the house. One of the things that happens, especially for those of us who tend to eat our feelings, is we tend to get really snacky. We cook, we eat things, we create things, and that's not good when you're worried. That does not help your overall health. One of the best things you can do is get out and just go take a walk around the neighborhood, around a park. I love going up to the lake. Actually, this last week, I actually got to go fishing for the first time this year. And it was lovely. And the whole time I'm there, and y'all probably have this same thing happen to you. The whole time I'm there, I'm thinking, why don't I do this more often? This is great. But we all get into the habit of just sitting home, of sometimes letting worries really rob us from good experiences. And guess what? Those worries aren't going to change anyway. Go and allow yourself some freedom from worrying about it. And while we're talking about things you can't change, I would encourage you all to step back from news, step back from the media, and it's not sticking your head in the sand. It is just stepping back from a constant barrage of negativity. Go be around people who make you laugh. Invite a friend out for lunch. Just get away from all the negative. And when I say invite a friend, invite a positive friend. Don't invite one of those negative Nellies. They're not going to help you any. Choosing to step back from that kind of negativity is part of being very mindful. You are choosing what to put into your mind and what not to. And more negative just begets negative. It does not improve your outlook. So why do it? Now, one of the more active things you can do is engage in problem solving. I already talked about inflation a little bit, and you engage in problem solving for whatever your list of worries are, the worries you can do something about. Maybe you won't have enough money, maybe you're worried about your fixed income. One of the people I talked about in a recent video was a guy I know who's on a very fixed income, but he'd recently bought a tractor. So he could do some small jobs. He could add to his retirement income for the long term. He can vary his income. For people on a fixed income, the inability to vary that income is very concerning, because once you get behind, it's really hard to catch up on anything. And so think about the things that you can do to improve things. Get together with your friends, come up with ways you can either earn a little bit, maybe work on a weekend or whatever. Now, I've talked about writer friends of mine that have gotten together as a group. Almost all of them retired, some of them in their 60s, 70s, even one in her 80s, and put out the series of book called the Love Train series. There's 3 more books that have since been released since I talked about that in one of my earlier videos. And these 3 authors that just had books released, here's the covers of their books. You can go down and check them out yourself. There's a link below. But one of the things I really love about these ladies is they're not sitting around worrying. They are working. They are actively doing things. They're getting together as a group. They didn't wait for a major publisher to say, hey, here's an idea. Why don't we do something as a group? No. They got together themselves. They're taking the bull by the horns, and I love that. On top of the fact they're all fabulous authors. But these are the types of things I'm talking about. Whether you are figuring out a way to vary your fixed income, if you're looking at creating more income, sitting around and worrying about it doesn't make it happen. And so many people get caught in that loop of just worry, rather than actively taking the lead in their own life. Now, one of the issues that I talk to people about when this comes up, because inevitably there will be someone, and you'll see it in the comments probably even on this video, that'll say, well, I just can't do that. I just can't work on the weekend. I just can't, I don't want to have to do a job. I'm retired. Okay. One of the things that you really need to address and get a hold of is anger. In retirement, when our expectations are not getting met, our expectations for what our retirement would be, we're getting disappointed and it's not going that way because of our own anger. And everyone has a right to be angry about things, don't get me wrong. But when your anger is keeping you from problem solving and keeping you from finding positive solutions, it's not helping you. And that is something you choose. I have talked to so many people who are angry that their fixed income isn't higher, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're angry. They've lost a spouse and now are very insecure as far as where they're going to live and how they're going to live. They have every right to be angry, but they also have to problem solve. That is part of freeing yourself from worry, is taking an active role in your future. And sitting around being angry or convincing yourself you can't do things because you don't want to, because you believe you shouldn't have to, that's anger talking. And while you have a right to be angry, it's not helping you. You have to ask yourself, are you really going to choose anger and unhappiness and worry over problem solving, finding solutions, and having something better? I'm not willing to do that. I want to take an active role in my future. I want to find solutions even for very, very difficult problems. Getting rid of worry is about choosing something that feels good, something active, rather than feeling helpless. Worry is learned helplessness, and you will continue to feel helpless if you allow it to constantly have a home in your mind. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.